Okay, so you guys all have out your page 326, 16 through 26?
Yeah.
All right, let's go over. Oh, hey, Brian, I'm going to invite you too so you can see what I'm doing on the screen, okay?
Please no help.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. And I'll remember to mute it so it doesn't squeal. There, I got it in time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it won't squeal. Okay, so.
Hang on just a second.
Sure. So I'm just going to read the instructions just so everybody knows. So write each quadratic function in vertex form, if not already in that form. Then identify the vertex, axis of symmetry, and direction of opening. Okay, so Nina, you ready? Okay, so Nina, just let me know when you're ready, okay? So number 16 is already in the proper format at y equals 1/3 open, x minus 1 closed, squared plus 2. The vertex is at 1, 2. That's ordered pair of 1, 2. So the axis of symmetry is located 1, and it's an upward opening parabola, meaning it's a minimum. So that's number 16.
Wait, so how do you tell it's going up?
Because that your first term, your A term is a positive number. When your A term is positive, then your parabola is upward opening. And if it's a negative number, then it opens downward. And in this case, our A term is 1/3. Okay, so number 18. It too is already in the proper format. And so we have y equals negative 8x squared plus 3. So our vertex is located at 0, 3. So our axis of symmetry is at 0. And this one opens downward because it's a negative 8 as our A term. And number 20. Number 20 is not in vertex form. So that vertex form should be open x minus 3 close squared minus 8. So that's the proper form. The vertex falls at 3, negative 8. The axis falls at 3. And this is an upward opening parabola.
What was the vertex again?
The vertex was at 3, negative 8.
Oh.
Do you want to go through that one?
Yeah, because I have a negative 3.
You have you have a negative 3?
And the other one was what, 8?
Negative 8.
Oh. Then I'm way off then, because I have a 10.
Okay, let's go through that one. So this is number 20. So what we have is y equals x squared minus 6x plus 1. Okay, so we first want to get this into the proper format. How do we do that? So we need to first complete the square.
So what number is this?
This is number 20.
Okay.
So first let's do the complete the square. So I like to write it as y equals open parentheses x squared minus 6x close parentheses plus 1. So that way it's easy to see what we're trying to complete the square of. So if we want x squared minus 6x as be able to factor by completing the square, we take half of the b term, which is 6, and square it. So half of 6 is 3. Square that is 9. So you get y equals, open, x squared minus 6x plus 9, close, plus 1. Okay, so remember, when we're looking at it in vertex form, that form is y equals, open, x minus h, close, squared plus k. So we need to factor out this x squared minus 6x plus 9. So what is the factorization of that? What do we get when we factor out this? We know we have a negative middle term. So we basically take our c term, which is 9, take the square root of that, then that'll tell us what our second term is, our h term. So we get x minus 3 closed squared plus 1. So now that is in proper vertex form. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now then let's look at this. So this is number 20.
Miss Gold,
What?
I'm writing down everything you're saying right now.
Yes.
And, I got as far as the open x squared minus 6x plus 9 close plus 1.
Right, now I forgot the minus 9 because you added 9 to that first section in the parentheses, but you can't change it, so you have to do a minus 9 at the end. So you're right there. So let me read it again. So you should have y equals, open, x squared minus 6x plus 9 close plus 1 minus 9. So you're adding that 9 to complete the square, but you're not adding it to the left, so you also have to subtract it from the right. Basically, it's creative accounting.
Okay, so wait, why do you subtract it from the 1 and add it to the 6?
Because that way we can actually factor this out as a perfect square. So then you can get it in the right format. It's basically maneuvering things so you can put it into this vertex form, which is very specific. It's the open x minus h closed squared plus k. You need it to be in that open x minus h closed squared. That's where you have to look at it. In order to do that, we have to do our take this x squared minus 6x and complete the square so we can factor it, that left part. It's basically like a scale. In order to still have it balanced out, you'd have to add the same amount to each side. But in this instance, we're adding and subtracting. It'd be like adding 9 pounds of feathers to something, but then taking away 9 pounds of rocks. It still weighs the same amount. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to still keep it balanced and the same equation. So what we have then is y equals, open, x minus 3 closed squared minus 8. So if you look at what's happening here, that minus 8 is because we had that plus 1 before, but we subtracted 9 from that term. So we kept it the same. We kept it the same as it was before.
Okay, and I have a question about the squared. How did it move from the x squared to the outside of the parentheses?
Oh, okay. So if we have x squared minus 6x plus 9, we can factor that because it's a perfect square. So that's why we factored it, and that's why we added that 9. We completed the square. So you can get x minus 3 times x minus 3. And if you're to go through that, so x minus 3 times x minus 3, and you FOIL it, you get x squared minus 6x plus 9. It's just the factored version of x squared minus 6x plus 9.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Now it's in the right format. It's in our x minus h squared minus 8. So now we can go look at all the pieces that we have. So when we're looking at our vertex, our vertex is the h comma k. So our vertex, that point is our h comma k inside parentheses. So in this one, if the format of the vertex form is x minus h, in this case we have a negative 3. But we're just looking at the number. The minus sign goes with the form. So our number, our h, is actually just 3. So that's how we get open parentheses 3. And the format originally is open x minus h closed squared plus k. So in this instance, it's a minus k, which is the same thing as plus a negative. So that's why it's a negative 8 for our k value. So that's the vertex at 3, negative 8. So when we're looking at the axis of symmetry, that's always the x point on our vertex, which in this case is a 3. So our x equals 3 for the axis of symmetry. So that's our second answer. And then the last thing we're looking at is this is an upward opening graph or downward. And this is upward because we know that when we looked at our original equation, we have x squared minus 6x plus 1. That our a term is positive, so it's an upward opening graph. Nina, does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So that was number 20. Number 22. Number 22, we end up with, it is not in vertex form. So what it ends up being, and if we need to go through this, we completely can. It ends up being y equals 4 open x plus 3 closed squared minus 36. Before I go on, let me know if you were able to get that part. If not, then let's go through it.
I'll have to go through that.
Okay. All right. So let's start again with our original equation. So we have y equals 4x squared plus 24x. Okay. So what they did was they pulled that 4 out of each of those terms because we have 4x squared plus 24x. So if we pull that out, then we get a 1 for our a term, and it makes it a little simpler. So that's how they got y equals 4 open x squared plus 6x close. Does that make sense?
Wait, can you say that again?
Sure. Y equals 4 open paren x squared plus 6x close.
And why is that?
Why is that? Oh, I pulled the 4 out of each term because we have 4x squared plus 24x squared, and 4 is a factor of both of those. Okay, so now the 4 is just going to hang out here. We're not going to do anything with the 4 for a little bit. But x squared plus 6x, let's look at that piece. But that piece is not a perfect square. So what do we need to do to it to make it a perfect square? What do we need to add to it to make it a complete square?
Is it a b term?
Well, we have a b term at 6x, so you do half of the b term and then square it.
Oh, okay.
So if we have 6x as our b term, Brian, what would it be?
9.
Yeah, exactly. So we have y equals 4 open x squared plus 6x plus 9 closed squared minus 9. Because you remember we have to still, we added 9, so we have to subtract 9. Again, it's like creative accounting. Okay, so with y equals 4 open, x squared plus 6x plus 9 closed. We need to factor this out because we still need to get it into the vertex form. So what is the factorization to get it into the x minus h closed squared? What's the factorization of x squared plus 6x plus 9? X plus 3. Yeah. X plus 3 closed squared. So what I have now is y equals 4 open x plus 3 closed squared minus 9.
Wait, can you go back to the step before that?
Sure.
It was still x squared plus 6x plus 9 closed?
Yep.
Did you put the minus 9 after that?
Yeah, after the parentheses, absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, so one thing I neglected to mention is that the 4 is multiplied to everything we add to this equation or subtract. So the way I wrote it is y equals 4 open parentheses, then another parentheses, x plus 3 closed squared minus 9 close parentheses. Because we added 9 to the right side of this, the end of this equation, but that 4 still impacts everything. So everything we're doing is inside of these parentheses because the 4 is watching over everything. So now we have it almost into our right format. So the way we're going to do this now is change a few things. Because we need it to be x minus h, and right now we have open x plus 3. So the way we change it is minus a minus. So we'd have y equals, and we're going to distribute this 4, but we're not going to distribute to everything inside the parentheses. We're just going to leave it outside of it. So we get y equals 4 open x minus a negative 3. So I have x minus open paren, negative 3, close paren squared.
Wait, can you read that whole step?
Yes. So we have y equals 4 open parentheses x minus a negative 3. Because before it was a plus 3, and to make it into the proper negative format is minus a minus. So you have y equals 4 open, x minus a minus 3, close parentheses, squared. And then we're going to distribute that 4 to the negative 9. So 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. But that 4 is still part of everything in this equation.
So why don't you, so how come we don't multiply the 4 to the negative 3?
Oh, we don't want to, we want it to be in just the x minus h. So we're leaving the 4 hanging out on the left so it doesn't mess up our x minus h, because we don't want to have 4x. And it's squared, so we still have to deal with that too. So we'd have to deal with that. So the 4 just kind of hangs out on the left. We don't want to incorporate it into everything. It's keeping it simple. Okay. So now we can actually look at our pieces. So we still have this. We still have this in the vertex format because we have our x minus h squared minus k. Let's talk about all the pieces. So hk is our vertex. And in this case, our h is -3. So we have open parentheses, -3. Oops, there it is. And our k is -36. So the vertex is located at -3, -36. All right, so now looking at that, our axis of symmetry, our x, equals -3. So that axis of symmetry is going to run through -3. And if we look at our first term, it was 4x squared. So it's a positive number. So it's going to be an upward opening graph. So those are our three answers. Our vertex falls at -3, -36. Our line of symmetry is at -3, and it's an upward opening graph. Any questions?
So the x, oh no, sorry, the h,
Yes.
basically the x coordinate,
Yep. The h and the x are the same thing.
and then k is the y coordinate.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. You good, Nina?
It makes sense.
Okay, fantastico. Okay, so number 24. Number 24 says y equals -2x squared plus 20x minus 35. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pull that 2 out so we don't have an a term that's greater than 1. So let me first tell you what the vertex form is. It's -2 open x minus 5 closed squared plus 15. You guys want to go through this one?
Wait, so what problem is that? 24?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we have is, so let's start out with our equation. Y equals -2x squared plus 20x minus 35. Okay, so again, I like to put parentheses around those first two terms so we really can see what we're looking at. So y equals -2x squared plus 20x minus 35. All right, so let's pull this out. So we have y equals negative, we're just going to pull out a -2. So -2 open x squared plus, minus 10x, because we're pulling out a negative, minus 10x. All right, get to the right pen. Minus 10x closed minus 35. Okay, so then what do we need to do to complete the square for this guy?
Wait, can you read that step again?
Yes. Okay, hold on just a sec. My thing wonky. Okay, so the way I wrote it is y equals -2 open x squared minus 10x close parentheses minus 35. Okay. So now let's look at this x squared minus 10x. We have to complete the square for that. So what is completing the square for that? So remember, take half of each term and add it.
Did I read same?
So half of b term is what?
Wait, okay, the b term was 20 and now it's 10.
Right, because we took out a 2. So it's negative 2 open, x squared minus 10x closed minus 35.
So would it be 100?
So half of b, no, so now you take the half of the 10 to complete the square.
Oh, okay, so it'd be 25.
Yes, so negative 2 open, x squared minus 10x plus 25 closed. So that, see that 25 is impacted by that negative 2. So we need to take that negative 2 and put it on what we add to the last term, to our k term. So we have minus 35, right? Minus 50. Does everybody understand why? Oh, plus 50. Sorry, plus 50. So you have to do the opposite so it balances out. Because if you're supposed to, if you were to multiply this through, it'd be negative 2 times 25. And if we only added just the 25, we'd have an extra 25 that makes it out of balance. So then let's go through and put these all in the vertex form. So you'd get y equals negative 2 open. What is the factorization of x squared minus 10x plus 25? We have a negative middle term, and then you take the square root of your c term.
X minus 5?
X minus 5, yep, x minus 5, closed squared. So as a reminder, we have y equals negative 2, open, x minus 5, closed, squared. Then we have a minus 35 plus 50. So what would that give us?
Negative 35 plus 50.
Negative 35 plus 50.
Negative 15.
Change your sign.
15.
Yeah. So we have negative 35 plus a positive 50. So we have our vertex form now. We have y equals open. Y equals negative 2 open, x minus 5 closed squared plus 15. So we can look at all the different pieces. So what is our vertex? If the original format is a open, x minus h closed squared plus k. So what would our, in our vertex is hk? Who can tell me what our vertex, where it would fall based on negative 2 open x minus 5 closed squared plus 15?
Are you talking about which way the graph or parabola thing would be pointing?
Oh no, first, what is our vertex? What's the ordered pair where our vertex lives?
Negative 5, 15.
Yes, negative 5, 15. Exactly. So that's the vertex. That's where it
Isn't
turns
it
into.
positive 5?
It is not a positive 5, it's a negative 5. So it would be a positive 5. Yes, you're right. Thank you. It's just the h. We're not pulling the sign with this one. So it's 5/15. So then where is our axis of symmetry? Remember, axis of symmetry, h and x are the same thing.
5.
5. Right. And so last, is this an upward or downward opening parabola?
Downward?
This one is down. Yes. So it opens down. Absolutely. Okay, so let's look at number 26. We have y equals 4x squared minus 12x minus 11. What you end up with is y equals 4 open, x minus open fraction, 3 over 2, close fraction, close parabola, or close parentheses, squared, minus 20. You want to do this one again?
Yes.
Okay, gladly. Okay, so we have y equals 4x squared minus 12x minus 11. Okay, again, looking at our first two terms, we need to complete the square. So I have y equals open 4x squared minus 12x close minus our 11 hanging out there. So the 4x squared minus 12x, we can pull a 4 out. So we have our a term as 1. So we get y equals 4 open x squared minus 3x close minus 11. Okay, so what is, Nina, can you tell me how to complete the square for this one, please? We have, in our parentheses, we have x squared minus 3x.
So you take half of 3,
Uh-huh.
which is 1.5.
Do it in fraction form.
Oh.
So you just basically throw it over, the 3 over a 2, since we're dividing by 2.
So you do 3 over 2 and then take the, whatever the square 3 over 2, which would be 9 over 4.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yep, 9 over 4. So then we have, so now we have y equals 4 open x squared minus 3x plus 9/4 close minus 11, and we're adding 9/4, but this 9/4 is affected by this 4 that we pulled out in the beginning. So what is 4 times 9/4? What is 4 times 9/4?
9.
9. Very good. So we added 9/4, so now we need to subtract it. So now we have y equals 4 open x squared minus 3x plus 9/4 close minus 11 minus 9. So let's clean this up. What is the factorization of x squared minus 3x plus 9/4? So remember, basically you take your b term and you half it, and that's your h term when you factor it out. Or you take the square root of your c term, and that's your second term for your factorization. So you get x minus what? If we have 9/4, take the square root of it, and you can tell me what our second term is in the factorization. Brian or Nina?
Okay. I don't know. Kind of lost there.
Okay, so you know how we have the b term to find our c term? So the kind of shortcut is when you do that, when you half that b term, it tells you what your second term in your factorization is going to be. Because we said that if we had negative 3x and we took half that, we got negative 3 over 2. And then we squared it for our c term. So that negative, or that 3 over 2 actually is the same thing that our second term in our factored form of this trinomial would be. So we have open x minus 3/2 closed squared. And then if you were to FOIL that out, you would get x squared minus 3x plus 9/4. So it's just a little trick to look at it. You go, oh, the c term, the one that I created, I squared. So when I'm trying to factor it, you take the square root of it, and that's your answer. So then you have minus 11 minus 9 at the end, which gives you minus 20. Okay, so this is the vertex form. I'll read it one more time. Y equals 4 open, x minus 3 halves closed, squared minus 20. So looking at this, can somebody tell me what the vertex is?
3 halves and negative 20.
Perfect. Yes. And so what is the axis of symmetry?
3 halves.
3 halves. And so then the last piece is, does this open up or down?
It's open up.
Open up. Very good. All right, so that is that. And what I want, we have about a half an hour left today. So what I would like you guys to do is to start working on the odds of this. The 15 through 25.
Okay.
And so remember, when you're looking at things, to complete the square, you need to pull out that first term. Like in number 23, number 21, number 25. So this is page 326, 15 through 25 odd. Again, page 326, 15 through 25 odd.